I am very nervous about this. I don't mind telling you that. Linda Chu is with us. Linda, I'm a little freaked out by this whole process.
No, don't be at all. It's very therapeutic.
Okay, she's a professional organizer. What does that mean? What do you do?
As a professional organizer, what we do is we come in and assist people either in their homes or in businesses, really help them to streamline all the possessions that they have.
Okay, do people call you in, or sort of do employers call you in and say, help my people?
Both. So both in the residential, in the corporate arena, when it talks about getting things to work and getting things functional, looking at streamlining, reducing your stress and anxiety around looking for things.
Okay, all right.
That's when we get called
before
in.
we get to my desk, before you tell me everything I'm doing wrong, what are the common mistakes that people make?
Often people feel that they need to keep everything for the fear of what if, that whole what if syndrome, I might need it one day.
Of course.
So, and often we do, but the challenge is that if you don't, at what point do you decide that you need to then move things along?
Okay, I have trouble throwing things out because it seems like a waste. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I go, geez, I feel bad about throwing this whole, like I can't do that.
There's always the emotional attachment that we have, but if the item is no longer useful anymore, it's also wasted if you're not using it, but if you look at things in terms of passing it on, donating it on to others that can use it.
Okay, I feel so bad. I've been trying to justify everything on my desk for Linda all morning long while she's been looking at it. Now, how bad is my desk?
It's not. So your desk
really?
And Dave's are very, very good. There are others
that... Dave cheated, though. He kind of cleaned his before...
He snuck it in the middle of the night,
he did sneak in and kind of clean it, because I've seen it look much messier than that. That looks pretty good. My desk, I will admit, I like to have my little quirky things on my desk. Is that bad?
No, not at all.
Okay.
If it ceases to work for you, the objective here is not clear and pristine. It's really looking at getting the space to work for you, and if it's not broken, let's not fix it.
Okay.
There's always some improvements, let's say.
Okay, well, we're going to go through my desk, and the one thing that you've learned about me is that apparently I like chocolate. Yeah. Because there's a lot of it on my desk in different places.
Emotional, personal momentums are always the key.
Okay, so show me. Let's get started here with...
Absolutely. We're going to go through the one drawer. There's a drawer here that I noticed.
Okay, those are my shoes. Okay, but there's a reason why those are there. The reason is that I'm not a big shoe person, so my shoes are for work. They're not for at home. Therefore, I keep them at work, and that just makes it look bad. Be quiet, Mark. This is not your desk. This is my desk.
You have a locker.
Yes, I know I have a locker, Mark. Okay.
Now, what I would look at this for is this is prime real estate.
Okay.
Potentially. So it's not to say to remove the shoes, and if you need the shoes, absolutely. But if you need this drawer to accommodate other items, like on the desk.
Drawer for my shoes.
So we'll look at ways to crawl your shoes together so that you're able to find the match quickly when you need and so forth.
Okay, so we're going to fix that, are we?
Yes.
What else do I need to fix over here?
Other areas that we have is in your in tray.
I just cleaned it.
Often,
not that long ago.
An in and out tray is really meant for transition, things that come in to transition going out, and often people use the trays as a storage unit.
That's exactly what that is. That is my storage unit.
Right.
That's stuff that I need to find later on. There's funny things in there. Some chocolate-covered macadamia nuts,
Which is meant to be eaten.
Yes, oh, believe me, they are. Okay, so what other things do I need to work on?
Other items that we have, for example, over here is all the piles that we have. So really looking at your piles to see if these are items that you'll need for future shows or segments. And I noticed right below here...
This isn't mine. This is all Dave's over here.
But it's also empty.
Oh. Really? I thought Dave was putting stuff in here.
So there's nothing in the drawers, nor down here.
Oh, look at that. There's all that free space.
So all the free space and nothing on the desk. So again, we might need to move into some vertical storage.
Linda, isn't the danger of that being that I'm going to take everything off of here, put it in the drawer, and then forget about it?
It is if you put it into a pile. You know, horizontal filing, you could never find things because it's all hidden underneath each other. But if we move things, shift things into vertical, so that you can just pull things out and drop into appropriate organizing options and containers, then you'll be able to find things a lot easier.
On the whole, though, how big of a job is my desk?
This desk here, we would be able to get everything done within an hour.
That's not too bad.
No,
You've said other people have done far worse. Like, what have you seen that's really bad?
There was a professor that I was working with whose students handed in 3 of their papers, part of the course at the university, until he lost them.
Okay.
So 17 and a half hours later, just on his immediate desktop, we went from the top of the pile to a clear desk.
Right.
Only to find that his papers weren't in his office. Weeks later, they were on his kitchen counter underneath another pile.
Very quickly, Linda, what are you going to work on with Dave's desk?
With Dave, again, it's just very similar again. Looking at some of the piles, it's really looking at items that he needs to access more often than not.
Okay.
And if you're finding that you're constantly searching and losing time looking for items, then that is something that we need to look at in terms of a process shift.
Okay, well, that's great. So we're going to work on that. We're going to hear from you a little bit later on the show. Right now, let's find out what's going on with traffic and weather. Here's Val. We've been very busy here in the newsroom this morning with Linda Chu, who's a professional organizer. I would guess that the newsroom in general would be a great place for you to do some work.
Absolutely. You're constantly with projects, short projects at that, and constant flow of information and possessions.
So while you were working on my desk this morning, were you looking around at other people's desks going, there's so much for me to do here?
We had a sneak peek.
She did, didn't she? All right, so before we're going to get back there and take a look in a second, but let's first of all take a look, Linda, at how it looked before you started your work this morning. And there you go, right? That's my desk, and there's Dave's desk on the right. Was it a big job for you?
Well, we had a lot of helpers, which is great. So other colleagues of I, we went through. So potentially it is a challenging job because you're looking at having to make some decisions to move things along, which you may not be prepared to.
I'm not sure I'm prepared to. But let's take a look at what you did today, okay? So come back here and show me what you did then, okay?
So in this area here, what we did, we cleared everything away for you and created
I see that, Linda. I see that. Yes.
we created areas by way of using storage bins, as you can see, labeled personal care, photographs, cards, and jewelry. So
you know what's driving Linda crazy about this? Labels are crooked.
They are.
She has been obsessing about that for the last 5 minutes. They're not crooked. It looks great.
Nobody could see, but I could see. I know, right? So what we did with all your shoes, as you can see at the bottom, we've repurposed your drawer, which is prime real estate, and now you have access to the drawer, which we'll have a look at. Absolutely.
And see what's in there. Okay. So what have you done in my drawer here?
So in your drawer, we've created some categories of most oftenly used items that we found on your desk. List of recipes, menus, newspaper, magazine articles that might relate to a project for future, correspondence and so forth.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay.
So the use of file jackets are great, and in pre-tab hanging file folders are fantastic.
Did you look at my other drawers too?
So again, we've just clustered just of supplies for you here, and then in the top drawer, again, just by use of containers, so rather than
leaving everything just lying out.
Mostly people have a junk bin, and it's sort of a collage of everything. So by sectioning things out into smaller containers, you sort of have a rhyme for your items.
Okay, and also like this stuff we have to still look at, right?
Absolutely.
This isn't just you want me to deal with some of this.
No. So part of the organizing is to cluster things into like items. So we had a group of various mugs, as you can see.
But there's all a reason why these are here, Linda.
Absolutely.
There's purpose to all of this.
The used coffee mugs, however, might be something we need to make a decision. Potentially, if you want to use it. But there are momentums, absolutely, that you want to keep.
Wait a minute. Dave gave me this picture. I can't throw that out. That's me on the cover of Fitness Magazine.
That's why we have to ask you. Right? It's an aspiration.
Or for pretend, as it might be. Okay.
Now, the other thing is the huge cost of this order is, look at these checks that we found. Uncashed checks, which is a very
small
common.
amounts. They're like for $2 or $7,
but times 3, 10 over months, over years, it could potentially add up.
Oh, look, there's a calendar you found on my desk.
Sort of an outdated calendar. I think it was last year's calendar.
Okay, I will deal with those. I promise.
So again, down here, as you can see, we also found a one-year-old calendar, October 06.
Okay, but that's got phone numbers and stuff on there. That's important. I need that.
So
Can I put that over here?
Transfer of numbers, absolutely.
Okay.
So if you know what the task is at hand, then to move the item along without having collect on your desk, you need to move that project along to the next stage.
All right. I will deal with all of that, I promise. Those are my books and all that kind of stuff. Quickly, can we look at Dave's desk here and you can tell me what you did?
So Dave's desk, very much similar as well. We created Dave just areas to sort of collect all his information and possessions, but more so the underutilized filing cabinet that we have over here.
Right, that was right over here.
This area here, we've repurposed this space so
there's my purse.
All your purse is there, but we also have all your
my food
in one area. So again, it's just trying to collect things with containers-wise, and also reutilizing the drawer. using filing systems. In this case, with Dave using
That's not my cowboy hat, by the way. That's Dave's cowboy hat, so that won't be used at all. But Dave's desk was fairly well organized to begin with,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Well, you moved his lunch. Geez, I don't know if he's going to like that. Now, what about his lower drawers over
his
here?
His lower drawers, what we've done.
Yeah.
As well, I mean, it's a collage. It's an item. These are grouping items that he needs to go back to make some decisions on to deal with. But
what's that second drawer? What have you labeled there?
Emergency rations for Dave.
Emergency rations.
So we noticed the sunflower seeds, vitamins,
you found all his little bits of food
and so forth. So
okay, and by the way, this is pretend. This is not real. This knife that you see in Dave's drawer there, just to let you know, it didn't look good sitting there. Well, Linda, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm a little freaked out by it right now, and I can't quite process what you've done, so I don't know how I'm going to deal with it, but I promise it will stay mostly like this.
Absolutely.
Okay? So thank you very much. Now, for more information on professional organizing, there's a conference going on.
There is.
Yeah, you can check out our website, which is citytv.com/BT Vancouver. Thank you very much for all your work today. You're watching Breakfast Television.
Thank you.
Great job. Great job.